There's been a tag going around of 10 game-related questions to ask somebody, and Do Your Nerd made a video with an open tag, but when I commented on their video, they said, yep, we're gonna tag you, so I gotta do 10 of these questions and answer them on the fly. The very first one on the list is, what type of games do you like to play? This one's a pretty easy one for me. I'm a big fan of platformers. I'm sure I've said it time and time again, like Super Mario. I'm playing Astro Bot right now on the PS5, which is extremely fun, and it's got a lot of nostalgia to it. That was really surprising. Shantae, Half Genie Hero, mentioned that all the time. I also like games that are like beat-em-ups with like simple skill trees like Yakuza. I mention that all the time as well. More recently, I've been playing a little bit more RPGs, simple ones, easy ones like Sea of Stars, Mario RPG, things like that, but my favorite is platformers for sure. Next question is, how much time on average do you spend playing games? Now this has been a little different recently because I've had a bit more free time, but I would say while working a full-time job, realistically, I'm probably playing 3 hours a week, unless I find a Sunday where I really have a true, like, free day, then I can play anywhere from, like, 4 to 8 hours. So, I would say on average, it's probably more realistic, like, 3 to 4 hours a week, with my good weeks being, like, 8. Next question, do you think video games can be educational? And I say absolutely. Not only do they help with hand-eye coordination, but I think they also are really good at helping with problem solving. I mean, helping kids learn how to read, how to problem solve, how to comprehend good storytelling. I truly think those things are really important. You know, as we get older, there are a lot of things we do have to problem solve, and I think video games is a great way of introducing somebody to that early. I do know there's some like actual educational games out there, and I think they can be beneficial to a certain extent, but I think video games give a lot more than people realize when it comes to the development of the young mind.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Next question, what do you not like about video games? And this one's pretty easy for me. Modern gaming has to be my answer, which I know a lot of people said that. You know, it's not specifically modern games in its entirety. I do like newer games. I like newer titles. I've been playing a ton of PS4 titles recently, but I don't like that every time I want to play a game, I have to free some space up because I don't want to buy, you know, a $100 external hard drive. I don't like that every time I put a disc in, if you have crappy internet, which recently when I tried to play Ghost of Tsushima, I did have crappy internet, and it took a couple hours for that game to download onto my PS4, just to turn out that I wanted to play it on my PS5 because I thought it looked better, so it took forever to be able to play the damn game. Once I got into the game, I got to a certain part of the game, and then it was starting to, like, do another download. It's stupid annoying, and so with modern games, like the updates, not being able to play your games immediately, I mean, even your controllers have to update. The lack of space, it's just not my cup of tea. Now, obviously, you get all of these amazing stories and graphics and upgrades at a cost, and that's just how it's going, but I'm not a big fan of that. I also don't like digital games. Now, do I own some? Yes. I'm just not a big fan of it, but that can be a topic for another video. Next one is, how much do you spend on video games? So are we talking like weekly, monthly? I'm not even gonna do yearly. Let's go with like monthly. So I would say on an average month, I'm probably spending anywhere from, let's say like 20 to 40 bucks, sometimes 60 if I'm buying like a more modern title. So 40 to 60, let's say. I would say more recently I have been game hunting a lot more because I've had a bit more free time, and so that number has changed quite dramatically. I also recently went to the Portland Retro Gaming Show. If you didn't check out my last video, check that out. And there I probably spent about $300, which was really low. I was expecting to spend much more, but I would say realistically, let's say $40 to $60 a month. Outside of like the months where I'm like really hunting or finding good deals like on Facebook Marketplace.
How can I get you to stay?
Money.
Yeah, we all want money.
Next one is, what is your favorite game console? So it's really vague. Are we talking my favorite game console of currently, like today? Are we talking about of all time? So let's answer it in a multi-part. So I would say my favorite console of all time is the Super Nintendo. I think it has a crazy good library, awesome graphics still to this day, great music. It's easy to pick up and play. It's got some of my favorite titles like Donkey Kong Country 2, Super Mario World, Mario RPGs on there. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but it's a good one. A Link to the Past, one of my favorite Zelda games. And then my favorite console to collect for is the N64. Even though it's a console I don't play on the regular, I love collecting for it. I think it's a weird console. I think it's got all those cool colors. The games are interesting, so that's my favorite console to collect for. And then my favorite console of currently is I've been playing the PlayStation 5 a lot, but using it as a glorified PS4. Next up, what is your favorite video game movie? Now, if you would have asked me this question a few years ago, I felt like I didn't like many of the movies at all to even have a favorite. Sonic, I felt like was like getting closer to what I was looking for. And then the Super Mario movie came out and that riddled me with nostalgia. I watched it in the movie theater and I was so happy with that movie. I know it's kind of like overplayed at this point. It got so popular that it's like, oh, of course that's the answer. But I really enjoyed it. I thought they hit it out of the park with so many misses with other ones. I will say I do have a soft spot for the 90s Mortal Kombat movie. I think that movie is extremely entertaining. Now it's not my favorite, but I do enjoy watching it.
I smell something. Bullshit.
And the next question is, what is your favorite video game? Now, I did a top 10 list like years ago, and Super Mario World was my answer then. I would say Donkey Kong Country 2 at the moment beats that one out. I think it's an amazing platformer with great music, and it's challenging. No matter how many times you play it, it's a game that's really hard to perfect. So today, I would say it's Donkey Kong Country 2. When it comes to more like modern titles, I feel like the most modern game that's like my favorite currently is probably Yakuza 0. Obviously that changes from month to month, year to year, it just depends on what you're playing. I've played quite a few games this year and that's been really fun. I've been playing a lot more games, but I would say for now that's my answer. Next up, who is your favorite video game character? Now, again, it depends on what you're talking about. So my favorite character to collect for is Pikachu. I love Pikachu. I know he's overplayed, but I like collecting little Pikachu figures. But when it comes to a character that I enjoy, like as an actual, game person, I would say Kiryu from Yakuza, and I might be saying that wrong. He is through Yakuza 0 through 6, and I think his story is great. I think he's a guy who's got his principles, who's got a soft side, who fights for what he believes in, and I always enjoy reading the stories and the games and interacting with people as him. I think he's a great character. Ichiban from Like a Dragon is so cheeky and cheesy and childlike, so he's a bit more lighter than him. Not my favorite, but if you haven't played any of the Yakuza games, I would get on that sooner than later. Last question, what is your least favorite kind of video game? And I can't tell you what kind of genre this is. I just know that I had Xbox 360 years ago, and I got this, it probably was free. There's no way I bought it, and it was XCOM. Whatever the game XCOM is, whatever type of game that is the type of game I do not like. That was awful. I hated it. I gave it probably, my educated guess, maybe like 20 minutes, but that game, I hated it. Whatever style of game that is. So tell me in the comments down below if you know what type of game XCOM is. I'm not the biggest on tower defense games. I think I play them from time to time, not quite my favorite. Puzzle games, they're hit and miss. I like Pokemon Puzzle League, but I'm not somebody who wants to go play puzzle games on the regular. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Do You Nerd, for tagging me in the comments for this one. I have enjoyed watching other people's answers, and I'm sure if I watch this again, I'll be like, well, why didn't you say this? I mean, there's always something to say about these things, but it was really fun. I guess I'm supposed to tag other people, but I feel like everybody has done it already, so I guess I'll do an open tag as well. Gosh, I'm trying to think if anyone I know hasn't done it. Maybe 8-Bit Glitch, have you done it yet? Who else? RampageTulk, he may have done it, but I'll tag him just in case. He's my favorite psycho if you haven't checked him out. But thank you guys so much for watching. This was really fun to answer, a little bit more casual video. Halloween's coming up, so let me know in the comments if there's anything you guys are wanting to see. I'm going to try to switch it up a little bit this year when it comes to what type of videos I put out. Last year, the playthroughs didn't do so well, so I'm going to try to do something else. But don't forget, guys, a pixelated world awaits.